Hello, welcome to another episode of Cutter One. I am your host, Jay, and I'm coming at you. All right, so I wanted to touch on this article today that came out from Bounding into Comics, not comments, Bounding into Comics. Article that came out today. Let's take a look at it. Let's discuss this. It's House of the Dragon showrunner Ryan Condal defends House Valerian race swap. It's a different era than these shows used to be made in. And as you can see, it came out today, the 18th. It's falling back on the favorite tired adage of every disingenuous industry member who seeks to justify changing a given source material for their own ends. House of the Dragon showrunner Ryan Condal has attempted to justify the HBO series race swapping of House Valerian on the grounds of it being the current year. Okay, so clearly the author of the article does not agree with this. Um, okay, let's see where this goes. Condell opened up about this notable change to George R. R. Martin's original novels during an interview with The Wrap given as part of the outlet's The Grill interview series. Asked by host Adam Chitwood if the decision to make the Valerians black was as simple as saying, "We don't want an all-white cast," the House of the Dragon showrunner asserted, "No, I think it was not that simple." Okay, I would hope it wouldn't be that simple. I think the reason that it's been a successful choice, I mean, not everybody is ever going to be happy about it, is because it was thought out, Condell explained. It wasn't just done perfunctorily or wasn't just done to tick a box or to be seen as progressive or to be seen as covering of the bases, he added. Further justifying the race swap, the showrunner then declared, "It's 2022. It's a different era than these shows used to be made in. We have an incredibly diverse audience that's not only across America, but in multiple countries that speak all sorts of different languages that represent all the colors under the sun, and it was really important to see some of that reflected up on screen." He regurgitated of every Hollywood presser in the last decade. Okay. I could see why you would say he regurgitated. That is a badass picture, by the way. I just thought I would point that out. I'd go into war with armor like that. Yeah, that's pretty badass. To that end, Condell argued that since the House of the Dragon took place in a fantasy world, the inherent make believe nature of its setting allowed for such changes to be completely fair game. "I think if this was a historical fiction piece, it would be a more nuanced discussion," said the showrunner. "But I think simply because this is a fantasy world, if we believe in dragons and shapeshifters and the fictional canines direwolves, we can believe everybody in the story is not white." Okay, fair enough. I'll give him that one. Speaking to why he and his co-season one showrunner Miguel Sapochnik specifically chose to take such a liberty with House Valerian, Condell divulged that they went to the Valerians in particular uh, was because that felt like the most fantastical race in the show. It felt like these were people from a lost continent that we don't really know that much about. He continued, "We know they all have silver hair. We know they have an affinity for dragons, some of them, and we know that they are seen, as quoted in the books and in the show, closer to gods than to men. So, what does that all look like?" Don't they also have violet eyes? I'm, I'm pretty sure they're also supposed to have violet eyes. Or maybe that's the Targaryens. Yeah, I think it's the Targaryens. In rationalizing this decision against the franchise's established lore, Condell detailed, "I said, well, Valeria was this enormous continent, a very diverse and well populated nation that fell into the sea. Why couldn't there have been a line of black Valerians in that story? I think if you're willing to take that first leap of suspension of disbelief, you really come to the idea that it feels integrated and intrinsic to the show in a organic way," he added. Sorry about that. In an organic way. Um, Condell also found himself supportive of the race swap because he found that there were, quote, "a lot of visual benefits that came along with it." And because Corliss has such a rich and diverse family line himself, just simply making that one turn on him to cast Steve Toussaint, his entire family becomes then a diverse cast, said the showrunner. And it's a really interesting way to populate the show with a bunch of different faces that you may not have seen in another high fantasy show or in the original series. Unsurprisingly, Condell's defense of House Valerian's darker skin depiction in the House of Dragon echoes a similar rhetoric on the topic previously put forth by the aforementioned Toussaint. Okay, so basically, he's saying it was a well thought out process. They did it for reasons, not just to check boxes on the progressive diversity and representation scale. So I mean, I can't argue with that. That if that's what your motivation was. Personally, I honestly don't care. I think to his point, I think well, there's a couple. All right, there's a couple of things here. First of all, I think that if you are the type of person that needs to see someone who reflects you in your look and demeanor and appearance, in order for you to be able to enjoy a show, that you need to see yourself in that show. Then I think you need to get your narcissistic head out of your narcissistic ass, um, because it's not all about you. Okay, the show definitely isn't about you. They don't know you. Um, and I think that that speaks to other issues that may be present in the fact that you can't enjoy something without seeing somebody who's representative of you based on skin color or ethnicity or gender. To me, that's stupid. Like I don't know, just off the top of my head, huge fan of the second Aliens movie. Actually, the first two Aliens movie, Alien and Aliens. Who's the star of that movie? Sigourney Weaver, okay, plays Ellen Ripley, a woman, okay. And in the second Aliens, the one with Newt and Hicks and all that, there's a subtext of being a mother. Okay, if you remember the movie, Ellen was in like cryo sleep for 57 years when she finally gets, found and brought back to Earth, and they catch her up on what's going on. She missed her entire daughter's life. Her daughter passed away while she was drifting in space. And then she goes with the Marines back to this planet, LV-428, um, with them. And then they come across the character of Newt, who's this little girl whose family has been killed by the aliens. And Ellen's maternal instincts kick in. And it's even illustrated with the end when you have the queen alien and the queen alien. There's this whole mother versus mother protecting their children aspect to it and stuff like that. I'm a guy. I didn't sit there and go, "Oh, this movie would have been so great, but why are they doing this women crap?" That's not me. That doesn't represent me. Um, I don't need the character to be me in order to empathize or sympathize or identify with them. Okay, I can do that on just a human level. You are a person. So I think this whole idea of, oh well, we need to check off these boxes so that people can feel that they are represented within the show. I think that's asinine, to be quite honest with you, to put it out there. I think that that's just stupid. I don't think that you should need to see someone who looks exactly like you in order to enjoy a show, to enjoy a movie. I like the Mockingbird movies with Jennifer Lawrence, Katniss Everdeen and stuff like that. Um, Again, I'm a dude. That's a woman. Okay. I like Corlys Valerian and the Valerians in House of the Dragon. They're black. I'm not. So what? I don't see the issue there. I don't think this defense of this move was necessary. I happen to have remember reading a story where they actually went to George Martin and asked him if it was going to be okay that they do this, and he was like, sure. Well, he's the author, he created the character, so if he's okay with it, who am I to be bitching about it, right? So I don't think this defense was necessary. But it highlights a point I've often said, and I think a lot of the other content creators that I tend to watch and follow also agree with, and that is, uh, as a filmmaker, Hollywood, let's just say, producers and writers and so on, the people who create the shows, your job is to entertain. I don't need you to lecture to me. I don't need you to beat me over the head with an agenda. Okay, I don't need you to kowtow to. I need to see myself, or the kid sitting next to me with the purple hair needs to see himself on screen. No, I expect you to create. Give me a good story with good likable characters. The rest will fall into place. Okay. And I think that's the case with House of the Dragon. Everyone is saying how, oh, fans are so toxic and there's this element of misogynistic, patriarchal nonsense, and they don't like seeing women in their superhero space, and they don't like seeing people of color in their fantasy and stuff. And that's not it at all. That is so missing the point. Fans want good stories, they want good, likable characters, okay? But when you make that secondary to preaching to them, to beating them over the head with an agenda, okay? To fulfilling your narrative, your political ideological narrative, when that stuff is put before telling a good story, creating a good character, you will get the fans backlash. You will get a negative response from the fandom. Okay? That doesn't make the fans racist. That doesn't make the fans phobic or misogynistic in any way. It makes the fans saying to you, "Hey, give me my good story. The rest of it can fall into place on its own." House of the Dragons, I think, or House of the Dragon, proved that. It proves that because while everyone was saying all these fans don't want to see people of color in fantasy and stuff like that, nobody's complaining about Corlys Valerian or the Valerians being black. I have not heard one person complain about that. I don't care. Like I said, I think they're cool characters. I like the characters. Okay, I think they're represented well. As I mentioned earlier, I think down here, I think that dude looks badass. I don't know about you guys. I think I'd follow that dude into battle. I'd be like, hell yeah, give me my sword. Let's go kick some ass. Do I care that he's black? No. Like I don't understand. I just don't get it. I don't understand why Hollywood feels the need to do that. And I don't stuff like this where they're defending themselves against criticisms that no one's leveling at them. At least not that I'm aware of. So I don't know. I don't think it makes a difference. I think as the entertainment industry, your job is to give me an escape, give me entertainment. My job is to subscribe to your services or pay for tickets to go enjoy your entertainment. If that circle or that cycle is broken because you feel it's more important to give me your political ideological agenda, then I'm not going to want to give you my money. I'm not going to pay you so that you can preach at me. Okay. And, if I don't pay you, then you lose millions of dollars on your projects and eventually you go out of business. The whole, get woke, go broke thing. Um, So let's just can't we bring it back to keeping it simple? Your job is to tell good stories and entertain me. My job is to pay for the tickets that support your ability to tell good stories and entertain people. And it's a cyclical thing. You keep telling good stories, I keep buying tickets. I keep buying tickets, you have money to tell good stories. It's really that simple. All of this other political nonsense should be kept out of it. And again, if you're the type of person that you feel that you can only enjoy something if there's somebody that looks like you on screen, you've got the issue, not the showrunners, not the people making the story. Anyway, that's just my take. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Remember to give it a thumbs up, to share the video, to like the video. But more importantly, if you could subscribe to the channel, that would be great because we're trying to build this thing and, you know, trying to get our thing going. So, anyway, I just said, and I wanted to point out Mrs. J, just J, after seeing some of my other videos, said I say a lot. So she left me these little cue cards that she's put here at my little thing that says watch my ums. So I'm trying to get better with less ums. She also has one there that right below that says look at camera. So, thank you, Mrs. J, just J. You are awesome. Anyway, folks, I hope to see you on the next one. And till then, peace out and be good.